Get ready, it's time for Motorsports Madness, powered by the staff at Race Chaser Online. Your motorsports, your way, every day. And now, here's your host, Jacob Seelman.
Hi, I'm going to wave at the camera in the tech shed because that's where I am. So basically, my response is to everybody out there watching and expecting to see my smiling face over there where Tom is, you get what you get tonight because I'm going to have a lot of fun to do over here. Anyway, all that said, welcome to Motorsports Madness. We are going to have a lot of fun over the course of the next just under 2 hours worth of talk. Jacob Seelman, joined in the Race City USA Race Chaser Studios by Tom Baker, who is over keeping the round table warm and cozy, and Cisco Scaramuzza is playing with video cameras and also joining us tonight, and we are going to have fun. And Tom, we're going to get into the breaking news in a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and do the voice just because it's fun and I can. But today was all about breaking news.
Yeah, it certainly was. NASCAR making a change at the executive level, and I think probably it was a change that caught at least a number of people by surprise, but I think it's going to be a change that certainly is not negative.
No, I don't think so.
If not, it in fact being a positive one.
You know, and that's the feel that I got from Jimmy Johnson when I spoke with him earlier this morning at Charlotte Motor Speedway. That's something else that we will talk about later on in this program, was the goings-on out at the Speedway today. But coming up in this show, Tom, we'll also have several special guests that we'll get to hear from tonight. We have ARCA points leader Sheldon Creed, who did a thing in the K&N West Series on the dirt. We're going to have Jesse Love, who did a thing in a midget and kind of sort of broke a Jeff Gordon record. Anytime you break a Jeff Gordon record, that's good. And we'll also hear from Derek Kraus, who's running K&N East, even though he's normally a West kid.
Yes, so this is kind of somewhat of a California show here unintentionally. But,
unintentionally, yeah.
But it's going to be fun. All three drivers are going to have a lot to say, and as you said, Jesse made history this week, and Sheldon won another race on the dirt. They don't call him the showstopper for nothing.
Oh, no, and if you heard my rant about that Vegas dirt race on our previous show this week, well, I'm sorry, but Sheldon's going to have a lot more positive things to say about that race than I did, and I will just leave it at that. We are going to step aside for our first commercial break, and when we return, we will dig into NASCAR's executive changes and talk about the news of the day. You're catching Motorsports Madness right now, and we will be back right after these words.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more, but the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
I'm Kaz Gralla, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to the Madness, and you can catch us any number of ways, either as Kaz mentioned on the Performance Motorsports Network, or you can watch us and see our faces. I'm not going to say the beautiful faces thing because, well, we have faces for radio, most of us. Anyway. Yeah,
I resemble that remark.
The Race Chaser Media Facebook page is where you can find that, and about 10 or 12 different podcast places. The American Forces Network, where we are syndicated through our partnership with Sports Byline. And
USA, yep.
USA, yeah. Sorry, I start the sentences, you finish them. Gosh, I'm all spun out. It's okay. Anyway, Kaz Gralla brought us back from break, and I want to really quickly make that point that I spoke to Kaz at Charlotte Motor Speedway as well during the Paint the Pit Wall Pink event earlier this morning. He's looking, and they're trying to get together sponsorship for the Roval. He said it's not done yet. They don't have anything finalized, but they are actively trying to put a deal together so that he can race the Roval next weekend. However, he said if he ends up being a spectator, he said, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat for that one, and excited because he said it's going to be way more fun to watch the race than to actually race the race.
Well, that's an interesting comment, and he may actually be right. It may also be a whole lot cheaper to watch the race.
I can promise you
it's
going to be a whole lot cheaper if he's watching the race instead of being in it. So with that said, we're going to transition over to the breaking news that NASCAR decided to drop on us this morning, in that Brent Dewar, who has been the president of NASCAR, has stepped down from his role effective October 1st, which is in about 10 days from now. And taking over that role will be the current Chief Operating Officer for NASCAR, Steve Phelps, who will move into the president's chair on October 1st. Now, Tom, nobody that I talked to today is really worried about that. In fact, Jimmy Johnson had a lot of really good things to say about Steve Phelps and what he feels like Steve will bring to the table. And yet, you think this is a whole lot more than just nothing, like some people are substantiating.
Well, no, I mean, I think this is, people are saying it's nothing, but I actually think that it's very, from a symbolic standpoint, if nothing else, I actually think this is very important because, and I want to be careful here not to lead to a conclusion, but Brent Dewar was a Brian France hire, and I thought Brent was doing a great job, but, Brent, less than 15 months on the job, is now going to be a consultant. Steve Phelps has been in NASCAR's hierarchy since 2005.
He's been there a while.
Yeah, it's 2005 is when he was hired, and I think he, in his position, has done a phenomenal job, and I think Steve will work very well with Jim France, who is the CEO at the moment, and I just get the sense here that there's a plan forming, in that Jim France has already kind of had some influence here and is helping to guide the ship forward.
Yes.
So I think it's a great hire. It'll be interesting to see if it becomes the only move that NASCAR makes from an executive level standpoint prior to next season.
I want to somewhat corroborate that with at least a rumor that I had heard earlier today, in that likely it won't be the only move that we see come out of this, that this is the first major domino of several to go along with all of that. And what it's going to end up adding into, I think, Tom, is more than likely the kid with the last name of Kennedy, who's the fourth generation of the France family. I believe Master Kennedy is going to very quickly find himself moving up in the world, if nothing else. I think from everybody I talked to seems to think that Ben would be the succession plan there.
Yeah, I would absolutely think that. Ben, certainly you would guess, would be someplace in that mix, right?
Duh.
It'll be very interesting to see. Again, he's got to get some experience, of course, but you would have to think that he's got to be in the future plan somewhere, somehow.
Of course. That would be all too simple, Cisco, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked about Ben previously and just what a great job he's been able to do with the truck. So, with that kind of being his precursor, his training on the job, I guess, as it were, I don't see any issue with him moving up in the world, especially with what he's been able to do with the trucks and especially how quickly he's garnered respect in that role.
Absolutely. We're going to come back to some of that discussion, I'm sure, in the future. Right now, I want to transition over to Richmond for a couple of minutes, guys, because we're talking about playoffs. I'm excited about this. The Xfinity playoffs start this weekend. The Cup Series playoffs moves into the middle race of round number 1, and I would argue this right here, aside from the Roval itself, is the most defining race anywhere in the playoffs because it's a short track. Somebody's temper is going to explode, somebody's going to get wrecked, and somebody's going to leave here in a heap that you don't expect to leave in a heap. So the only questions we have after that are who and how is this all going to shake out? I can tell you this, the guy I'm watching in the Cup race, Kyle Busch.
Well, I mean, certainly Kyle Busch is one of the drivers to watch, but I want everybody to just think about this for a second. When we come out of Richmond after Saturday night, there are going to be 4 drivers who are on the verge of being out of the playoffs, and it is likely that at least one, maybe more, would basically have to win the Roval in order to get to the next round. Now, it's the Roval.
Yes.
You would think about, we're all race fans. We can all kind of envision from a driver's point of view, would you want to be on the verge of playoff destruction going into the Roval?
The answer to that is absolutely, unequivocally not a chance. Now, to be fair, Tom and Cisco, I want to let you respond to this real quick. If the points around the cut line stay as close as they are right now, you might not have to win the Roval, and somebody might just have to have a bad day. There's only 12 points from 16th up to 12th right now.
I would, but still, Jacob, the fact you're going into the Roval, and you talked about the fact you're going to watch Kyle Busch. I'm going to watch Denny Hamlin because Denny is not looking good right now, I'll be honest. And going into the Roval, yes, he's been fine at Sonoma. He's been great at Watkins Glen. It's too much of a wild card for someone in his position to have to, bank on, I'm going to get a win at this track that we've never actually raced properly at yet. So if I'm the 11 team, or, if I'm any of the bottom 4 team, obviously, but especially if I'm the 11 team, I'm freaking out. Richmond is a must-win race for me, Jacob.
Absolutely it is. And you know what? It's a good must-win for Denny to have, Tom. He's really good there.
Well, he is good. And I think, again, that the point, I really only made half my point. The point was that the fact that there's going to be 4 drivers coming out of this race who have to depend on the Roval, you don't want to be one of those 4 drivers.
No.
So that makes this Saturday night's Richmond race into exactly how you described it. It's a short track. They're going to be tempers. They're going to be aggressive driving. You know, these guys want to win Saturday. They don't want to have to depend on what's going to happen next weekend. It's way too much of a wild card.
Yeah. I'm going to say that's the biggest understatement that you've made in the first 15 minutes of this show, because I can gather there's probably
going to next time.
Exactly. That was the whole point. And with all of that being said, we're going to return to our NASCAR conversation a little bit later in the show, but we're going to transition over to our first of 3 special guests coming up. You're going to hear from Derek Kraus coming up in our next segment. Got the chance to catch up with him about some new stuff that he's going to be doing this weekend up in Loudon, New Hampshire. I didn't get the Boston accent right, but I tried. So anyway, we're going to step aside. When we return, Derek Kraus and some K&N East action that he'll be getting into. You're listening to Motorsports Madness, and we're back in just a moment.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing, making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
What an awesome game. What's up with your car? I don't know. It won't start. How are we getting home? Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease that robs people of their ability to breathe. As many as 24 million Americans suffer from COPD, also known as chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and half of them don't know they have the disease. If you or someone you love is over 35 and has smoked more than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime, visit driveforcopd.org and take the screener, then take that to your doctor. I'm Jeff Stoltz, and I drive for COPD.
Hi, I'm NASCAR driver William Byron. You're listening to Motorsports Madness on PMN, the Performance Motorsports Network.
I'm going to make a bold prediction here. Shocker, I'm going to go out on something more than a 2-inch limb, Tom. Can you believe it?
2.5 inch?
No, bigger than that,
3
actually.
inch.
And maybe even bigger than... this is a big limb for me.
Oh, boy.
Yes, it's a big limb.
I can't wait.
Here's my bold prediction. William Byron will contend for the win at Richmond because it's a short track.
Wow, okay.
We'll see.
Right.
It probably won't happen, but there's my bold prediction for the night.
I don't think it's out of the question.
It's not out of the question. Like I said, it's a short track. People rough each other up, and that tends to lead to chaos.
Jacob, that's in my opinion, that's about as close to happening as the Busch Brothers Motorsports idea from a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, stop it, Cisco. You're no fun. Anyway, this is Motorsports Madness. I'm Jacob Seelman in the production chair tonight. Hi, guys. Tom Baker is keeping the what used to be the round table, now it's the straight table, warm. And Cisco Scaramouza is on the
executive
Skype
desk,
line.
apparently.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, in this segment, we are going to talk about and hear from Stratford, Wisconsin driver Derek Kraus. Before we hear from Derek, Tom, let's talk about Derek for a second. He's in the top 5 in K&N West points this year, and he just landed a ride for the final 2 K&N East races that starts this weekend at Loudon, New Hampshire, and he's going to drive the 1 car with his Napa sponsorship for DGR Crosley, which, as those who follow the K&N East Tour know, is kind of sort of the East associate of his West team, Bill McAnally Racing. I think it's a cool opportunity for him.
It is. It's a very cool opportunity for Derek. And, you know, this is a situation where I think there was some availability, and I think Derek wanted to do it. And so it was just a situation where Bill McAnally had you've still got a few West races left. You've got the 2 East races left. So it kind of became a thing where Bill didn't want to be going cross-country for the next month.
Exactly.
So, you know, who better than DGR Crosley to make a deal with and put his young buck in a car? And Derek, I think, is going to be just fine.
Oh, absolutely. This is not a situation I think he has anything to worry about. And as you'll hear from in a minute, he's very, very excited to get the chance to work with David Gilliland. So I'm going to press a button. We're going to roll some tape, and you'll get to hear what I got a chance to talk with Derek Kraus about earlier this week. All right, Derek Kraus, make a long story a little bit shorter for me, because of the things that I would have expected to see in my email today. I don't know, Bill McAnally bringing cars out east for the last 2 races, Toyota putting something together. I don't think I expected what you guys just announced. So where did the DGR Crosley thing come from? I'm curious.
To be honest, it was kind of put together by Bill McAnally. I mean, because it's really a lot easier on the team just because these next 2 races at New Hampshire and then Dover, like we go to New Hampshire, then the next weekend is Meridian, and then the next weekend, I believe, is Dover, and then the next weekend's Roseville. So, I mean, it's not like realistic for the team at BMR. I'm sure they could do it, but I mean it'd be really tough on the guys. And Bill put it together, and I feel like it's a good fit. Napa came over and helped, so that's big. So it's not like I'm switching teams or anything, like staying there or anything. I'm still driving the 16 car, so that's good. And it'll be also a good experience for me to work with different guys too.
I can certainly understand that, and I know for you, obviously, it's a really good scenario after not the outing you wanted on the dirt to now be able to go back and forth between the West and the East, but at the same time put together 4 straight race weekends on the pavement at 4 pretty different racetracks.
Yeah, it'll be definitely different. I feel like our dirt experience, I mean, it was good. I led the most laps, but I just kind of screwed up a little bit, and I went around and blew a right retire. But I feel like we came to the field well. It's just that dirt, I mean, I felt like it was a free-for-all. It was a demo derby. I feel like if you could drive in and you get to someone's bumper or get someone's door, you would, and people were. So I feel like that's what ended our race, too. I mean, at the end of the race, we got hit a little bit by the 9 car, and then we drove into 1, and the 99 finished us. So I feel like we definitely deserved the top 3 finish there. And then the next 3 races coming up, like you said, New Hampshire, that's a flat mile. And then I've been there, which will help, and then Meridian, I've been there. And the only one I'm really, really anxious about, kind of nervous, is Dover. That'll be that'll be definitely different just because of how fast and banking and concrete. It's just a really big Bristol, I feel like.
For you at the age you're at right now, not being 18 yet, but at the same time being your second year in a K&N car, is this an important time for you right now to be able to get some experience on these mile tracks, these little bit bigger tracks that are kind of getting you ready for the next step?
Yeah, I feel like that was also another reason, just because I did need more experience on the bigger tracks like Gateway and New Hampshire and Dover. I mean, that really helps. I mean, on the West Coast side, you really don't have none of them because we don't go to Phoenix no more. Pretty much the biggest track that we go to is Evergreen and Kern County. So, I mean, I definitely feel like these two races will help me a lot just because of the bigger track and the experience that I need to have more of.
You mentioned that you felt like it would be good for you to work with some different guys, so I have to believe that with all of his experience, you got to be pretty excited to be able to lean on David a little bit for the two races you're going to have here and kind of pick his brain and understand a little bit how the team works and how you can fit in with him too.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be different working with not my normal guys, but I know I've been to DGR before, and I know the guys at work, they're pretty good, but it's definitely going to be different working with them, having to tell them what the car's doing, and I feel like we're just going to have to adjust a little bit. I'm going to have to adjust to them, and they're going to have to adjust to me a little bit, and hopefully by the end of the weekend at New Hampshire we'll be good and end up in victory lane.
You mentioned you're a little on edge about Dover. What do you feel like the biggest thing is there? Have you started watching any tape yet to kind of mentally prepare yourself for it?
Not any tape yet. I know. I watched the races from last year. I know they're having troubles blowing tires, but I don't feel like, or we won't have that problem this year just because the new tires that we're on. So I don't feel like we'll have to worry about that, and if we do, then we'll definitely have to save the right front or right rear or whatever it is that's not having the best day when it's going to blow. But I feel like the biggest thing is going to be adjusting to the racetrack, because I remember last year Todd was telling us that in qualifying he was holding it pretty much wide open. He was just dragging the brake a little bit, and that's completely different because you go everywhere and you're going to the corner, lifting and braking, so it'll take a little bit of time. I feel like just to adjust to that and just get used to that.
How do you characterize this year, Derek? Obviously, the championship points haven't necessarily gone how you wanted it to, but you've certainly had some high points, too, with a couple of wins. And I feel like, if nothing else, and I know you and I have talked about this a little bit, it's definitely been a really big growing year for you.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the points make it look like it's been a horrible year, but I feel like this year has been really good. Evergreen, I feel like that one got taken away from us just because we ran out of gas. But we have 3 wins, and if we didn't wreck or run out of gas, if we finished in the top three for sure. So I feel like it's been a good year this year, and just with not looking at the points, I know going to the beginning of the year that was our main goal to get that championship. But I feel like this year it's a little bit out of reach just because how far we fell back. Run out of fuel, and then the last race wrecking. So we'll just have to go to Meridian and Roseville and Kern, and we'll have to win those races and see how much we can get.
I think the biggest thing, Tom, that I was really struck with in that conversation that I had with Derek was the fact that, yes, okay, he's not where he wants to be in points, but he's been very optimistic at the job that he and his team have done this season, and he's very happy with where they're at. He knew there was going to be some learning this year, and he's really weathered the storm, and I feel like grown quite a lot this year.
Well, I was going to say exactly what you just said. I watched Derek. I feel like he's maturing, and he was very young to be where he is. But he's really, over the course of the year, you've watched him both on and off the track. He's made so many strides, and just, man, I feel like the future is very bright for him. He's a very talented kid, and he's got a nice personality, a nice demeanor. Again, the key to this is just not letting the size of the stage overwhelm you. And as long as Derek stays humble and, just really keeps his ears open and listens to the people around him who are best to advise him, I think he'll be just fine. And this is a great opportunity because I do feel like there's much more competition in the East in K&N Pro than in the West. No offense to anyone out West, but I just feel like the depth of the competition is greater on the East Coast. So this is going to be a good opportunity for him to mix it up, with Tyler and Anthony and, all of those guys that are, have been so good, in the K&N Pro Series East this year.
Absolutely, and I think the biggest thing that I want to pay a note to, Cisco, put your listening ears on because this is good for all of us, even me. The events from this weekend's short track triple header at New Hampshire Motor Speedway will all on Saturday be streamed live, L-I-V-E, live by fanschoice.tv.
Excellent.
So that's a tremendous deal, not just for New Hampshire, but for short track fans across the spectrum. That's going to be a very, very big deal, and I'll be excited to take in all the action for the K&N Pro Series East, the Pinty Series, and the Wheel and Modified Tour this weekend. With that, we're going to step aside. On the other side of this break, Sheldon Creed joins us. This is Motorsports Madness, and we are going to be back in just a couple of moments.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Cole Custer, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
All right, welcome back to Motorsports Madness, and you can catch us either on the Performance Motorsports Network, the Race Chaser Media Facebook page, via the American Forces Network, thanks to our partnership with Sports Byline Network USA, and what, Tom, 12, are we up to 10 or 12 different podcast hosting places? I lost count.
I don't know that it's quite that many. I think it's about 7 or 8, but the key point, sportsbylineusa.com.
Yes.
And, of course, on demand through Spreaker and Pandora and a lot of the other top podcast sites. Just search Race Chaser Radio, or of course you can catch us on the Performance Motorsports Network either live or in replay form throughout the next several days after the show.
All right, with that, we are going to duck over to the phone lines and catch up with our second of 3 special guests here on this program. And welcome back to the show, Sheldon Creed, the showstopper, who kind of sort of stopped the show in Las Vegas about a week ago tonight because Sheldon won the first dirt race in K&M Pro Series West history in like 41 years or something like that. I don't remember exactly how long it was, but it was sometime in the 70s. Regardless, Sheldon Creed, you got the checkered flag first, so congratulations for that. How crazy was that race? Because I know I was just seeing little video clips on Twitter. It looked pretty insane.
Yeah, no, it was wild. Super dusty. I don't think any of us expected the dust that it brought, especially for practice, because it was pretty good all day in practice. I mean, obviously, if you got outside the group, it got dusty, but yeah, pretty wild opening laps there, and then they watered it, and it obviously calmed down after that.
What was your impression of the dirt track at Vegas? Obviously, stock cars aren't really the division that traditionally races there, so to be able to experience it, what was your impression of the track? Because I know some of the guys I talked to said it was interesting. Some are like, I'm not so sure about this, and obviously you with your off-road experience, I'm sure felt right at home.
Yeah, no, the stock car isn't your ideal platform for dirt racing. It's just big and heavy, and I don't know, it's not really exactly what you want. Not the easiest to drive. So I don't know. I think that's the first thing that makes it difficult, and then from there, the track it's like a sandy, hard dirt. It wasn't clay at all. So yeah, it didn't have much grip to start with until it rubbered up, and then it got better. But very slick track, slick surface. I thought the size was good. I liked the size of it. I felt like maybe if it was clay, you could have 2 grooves. It would have been a lot more racy. But I don't know. I had fun from the get-go. I didn't think I was in the best race car there, but I think we were among the better ones. And it took us a while to get a setup that I felt like we could run top 5 with.
Yeah, talk a little bit about the team and the car that you were driving out there, because I know originally, if I heard the story right, you were going to run, I think it was with Jefferson Pitts Racing, and then kind of last minute plans changed and you ended up in a car for Levin Motorsports, one of the smaller teams on tours. Talk a little bit about how that deal came together and working with Matt.
Yeah, so at first, when we first talked about doing it, like, I don't know, a little bit before halfway through the season, JPR, Jefferson Pitts Racing, was our first go-to, just because I had done races with them prior. I did 2 K&M West races with them last year, so we're going to go back to them, do it with them, and then we weren't really sure what our plans were, and obviously they had rides to fill, so they sold their rides to people that were there and they were ready to sign the deal. So we went back to them once we decided, like, oh, we want to do it. They didn't have any cars available, so they recommended Levine. And that's how that deal kind of came about. It was like super last minute, like a week and a half, 2 weeks prior to the race. But glad we did it.
Sheldon, this is Tom. We've got a gentleman in our online chat that wants to know. We're kind of, I wanted to save this for toward the end of the interview, but I'll get it out of the way now, and then we can kind of come back to current. But do you know what your plans are for 2019? Do you have anything set that you can talk about as far as potentially maybe any trucks or any Xfinity, anything like that? Do you think you'll be kind of moving upward toward those types of racing in 2019?
Yeah, I mean, my goal is to run trucks full time in 2019. Just talking to teams right now, trying to work with sponsors, seeing what we can put together. That's more like the business side of racing that can be difficult at times. So trying to get that all in place here in the next, I don't know, few weeks to see where we're at and just make sure we're all prepared for 2019. So the goal is to run trucks full time. Xfinity would be cool, but that's a whole other deal that we'd have to take on. So working on it. Maybe a few ARCA races if the opportunity is there to run some super speedway stuff like Michigan. I like to go back to Gateway, Iowa, some of the bigger tracks that I really enjoy racing. And other than that, just really focusing on trying to do trucks full time for 2019.
Okay, so let's get back to 18 and talk about ARCA a little bit, because you've had a really, really good season in the ARCA Racing Series. I mean, you're leading the points, and you really had a great shot at winning the championship even before last week's race, but after the events that have transpired there, you pretty much got the championship iced as long as you can show up and, run halfway decently. Talk about this season for you, because it seemed like for a while you were just so good at being the bridesmaid. You never got to be the bride, and then all of a sudden you just started clicking a few wins off, and you've really quietly had probably the best overall season of anybody, as obviously that's reflected in the points because you've got a sizable lead.
Yeah, no, it's been a great season. I don't want to say we started slow, but we started consistent, like seconds and thirds. I think I went the first 5 or 6 races in the top 3, but never got a win. And we had speed.
I don't know if we might have lost him. I think we may have had an issue with the phone there, but we'll try and see if we can get him back. But for right now, Sheldon Creed leading the ARCA Racing Series points. And, Sheldon's in a situation where he's pretty much got the title wrapped up as long as he actually shows up and runs well. I think we got him back now. Sheldon,
yes.
Are you there?
Sheldon just reappeared.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
If your phone's on speaker, you might want to take it off speaker.
Yeah.
Just talk into your phone. That's probably be the better way.
Is it better?
Much.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So you were talking about the season.
Yeah. So started slow, seconds and thirds, and we got close to a few wins. Daytona, Talladega, led those for the white flag, and then got cautioned. And I don't know, I feel like short tracks are a lot of our first races where, short tracks aren't my, I'd say, greatest too. So I was really excited to get to our speedway races, Michigan, Chicagoland, Iowa, Gateway, all the bigger tracks. And finally got that first one at Michigan, and then clicked a few off after that, got Gateway, got Iowa. I think we won like 3 races in 5, so really cool to do that. Obviously, I want to win in everything I do, so it took me a long time to get that first win, but it felt good to be able to back it up with a couple more.
Okay, now, when you look at what your season's been overall, I think one of the most interesting points was just this last race. What was it like to be able to throw back to a Rainier Racing paint scheme? I know you and Lauren Rainier have worked so much together, and Lauren's meant so much to you. And, of course, his father, Harry, owning the Cup team for many years. To be able to throw back to that Hardee's Cale Yarborough paint scheme and actually have Hardee's sponsoring the car, what was that like?
Yeah, it's extremely cool. When I came over to MDM last year, Lauren helped that whole deal together, and he's been my spotter pretty much since the beginning of racing asphalt. So ran the 28 number the last 2 seasons, and kind of coming into this year, I knew I wanted to do a throwback for Salem. We didn't know exactly what we wanted to do, but it was for sure between the Hardee's paint job that we did and the Gray Ghost. And I'm glad we did the Hardee's one. I felt like everyone liked it. The fans interacted with it great, and they wanted to see it back more. So that really helped us with our deal with Hardee's. We're still talking to them. They're interested in coming back, and we're trying to put that whole deal together some more. So I thought it was really cool. I thought having Lauren there, his dad used to own the race team that Cale used to drive for, and just a really cool deal too, and especially do it in Salem, which is, I don't know, I feel like an old schoolish track. So just a really cool weekend.
I'm sure it made it extra special, not just, Sheldon, that you ran the paint scheme in honor of that scheme, but that you actually had Hardys on the car.
Yeah, that was awesome that they came on board, and they let us do a lot of cool stuff. They let us take the car to one of the Hardys drive-throughs, did some cool media there. We did ads. We got a fire suit made. We did it right, and just a lot of fun to be able to do that. And we won these throwback paint team award of the weekend, so that was also pretty cool.
All right, so now I want to totally shift gears for a second and ask you about this, because you've had some time, spent some time during your off-road career at the X Games. Is there a particular favorite memory from that? Because I imagine there were a few.
A fake memory, you said?
A favorite memory, so to speak. Anything that well, it's the X Games, so I'm sure it all stands out. But
yeah, I would say for sure winning the gold was a favorite, but also just the whole atmosphere of X Games, being there as an athlete, and just kind of experience everything. All of us off-road guys are super into motocross and freestyle and dirt bikes and all that, so being able to go down on the floor and be up close, all that stuff in person was super cool. I went to a lot of the BMX. We went to a lot of events, so we had a lot of free time because our race was on the last day of X Games. So I had a ton of free time to go do all that, watch a bunch of events, and just a super cool atmosphere to be a part of. And then I think I was 17 when I won the gold medal. So just really cool deal there.
Hey, Sheldon, Cisco. So, you talked about 2019, you want to definitely go full-time with the trucks. If we saw truck throwback paint, would you ever consider throwing back to one of your SST schemes at all?
Yeah, I guess it's possible. I don't know. I guess if nothing came about with sponsors, or if I just got to choose what I wanted to do, then possibly I'd go that route maybe, but I don't know. I'd like to keep it like original. I'd like to go back to maybe something in the early truck days, or I don't know, kind of keep it with the truck thing.
All right.
Was there a favorite stadium super truck paint at all for you that you ran, the Traxxas one, or which one sticks out in your mind?
I had a couple cool ones. I had the Traxxas one obviously for a while. I did a MagnaFlow, like exhaust truck I had that was pretty cool. It was white with some like red and yellow and stuff. So it was pretty cool. I don't know. There was quite a bit of different designs I had there at the beginning when I was just kind of bouncing around with different sponsors and different trucks that Robbie had rides going on in. And I did a purple body for my grandma when she passed away with stomach cancer. So a lot of cool ones there. I don't know. I obviously like the Traxxas one because they supported me for so many years. I liked my purple Grammy one. I don't know. I pretty much liked all my paint jobs. I wouldn't say I have a favorite.
All right, Sheldon, we're up against the commercial break, so we're going to let you go here in a second. But thanks for taking some time to talk with us tonight. As always, we appreciate it and look forward to seeing the rest of your pursuit of the ARCA Championship.
Right on. Thank you, guys.
That's Sheldon Creed. We're going to step aside, and when we return, we will continue the first half of Motorsports Madness. So hang tight, come back, and we'll be back with more of the show here right around the turn.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family-owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. on with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend. My brother. My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father. My husband. My mom. My mommy.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm NASCAR driver William Byron. You're listening to Motorsports Madness on PMN, the Performance Motorsports Network.
All right, welcome back to the program as we get close to the end of the first half of this show, and Jacob Seelman, Tom Baker, Cisco Scaramuza on what is now Thursday night if you're catching us live. And Tom, I want to say this because the Xfinity Series playoffs kick off Friday night at Richmond Raceway, and I think the biggest thing that we have there is, well, we really don't know what we have there. I think it's kind of open season. The Cinderella story, of course, is the 6th seed, Ross Chastain. That's going to be fun.
Well, and boy, Cinderella story is an interesting term to use because he is a Cinderella story, but he runs more like he's been doing this for, 20 years in that 42 car, and he's been winning all that time. If there is a scenario that you could look at and say, well, it's probably somewhat safe to assume if Kevin Harvick doesn't wreck him, he may be literally perfect in the 42 car in his 2 starts.
Yes.
Winning the pole and winning every stage in both races.
Yeah, he might be. And that, I think, Cisco, that's the scariest thing here. What more could Ross Chastain do? Let's remind everybody, he's in the 42 this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think it's got to be frustrating a little bit to kind of be in this situation where, you got one team that's in the playoffs, you got the other team that's in the playoffs. They're technically both driving for you. I don't want to know what those team conference calls are like, Jacob, if you're setting stuff up. I mean, we know these teams have to have cars ready, at least a couple weeks in advance or at least start on it.
Yes.
It's got to be frustrating for, every time you're going to make a change or something like that, CGR's got to call up JD Motorsports. Okay, yeah, no, it turns out he likes the seat about an inch lower. So that's got to be a little frustrating for him.
Less frustrating than you think because Ross said the 4 and the 42 drive almost exactly the same, and I think that says a lot that the only thing between the two, at least in Ross's mind, is a speed differential. We're going to step aside. The second half of Motorsports Madness is coming up right after these words, so don't go anywhere. Jesse Love coming up in the second hour. We'll be right back.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
If you're a gearhead and you just can't get enough of your favorite motorsports on that channel on the cable, or you look at that Guy network and you just go, what does that have to do with me? We have the answer. Performance Motorsports Network. Right here on the internet. The best cruising tunes, the best in motorsports programming, and the best shows. We have opinionated hosts, and we like it that way. If you want to get involved, if you want to bench race, be listening for information coming up soon right here on this channel, the Performance Motorsports Network. Your source for motorsports.
Hi, I'm Tyler Reddick, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Well, that was quick. I mean, these breaks usually fly by very quickly, but you know what I mean. Jacob Seelman, Tom Baker, Cisco Scaramuza welcoming you back as we start the second half of tonight's Motorsports Madness, which you can catch on the Performance Motorsports Network. You can catch it via the Race Chaser Media Facebook page. You can catch it via the American Forces Network, thanks to our partnership with Sports Byline USA, or as we mentioned earlier, a bunch of different podcast hosting sources, enough that we've already lost count. So with that being said, we have a short little stint here before we really dig into the meat and potatoes of the second half of this show, but I think it's enough to point out, Cisco, that in NHRA land, the straight liner land, there's good news and there's bad news for Kalitta Motorsports. The good news is that J.R. Todd has won the last two funny car events, and that's a big deal in the quest for a championship. The bad news is that in more breaking news, Jim Oberhofer, who's been with Kalitta Motorsports for a long time, is now no longer with Kalitta Motorsports. He was kind of unceremoniously dismissed this week.
That's not fun. That's... Like, I understand if you're going to have, somebody has to walk away or someone like that, and, it's a case where they, they're trying to better themselves or something like that. You can make a small edit about it, but unceremoniously dismissed, Jacob, that just, that kind of stinks.
Yeah, Tom, I heard a nasty little rumor about where he's going now that he's dismissed, or I guess it would tie into why he was dismissed.
Oh.
Rumor has it he's going to John Force Racing.
Oh, well.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
That would be a reason to be dismissed.
Yeah, especially. I couldn't believe it when I heard the rumor because it's like, Jim, you've basically been an honorary member of the Kalitta family for like 30 years. What are you doing, man? And then I thought about it. I'm like, John must have offered him one heck of a paycheck.
And then the John Force Empire snatched him away from Kalitta Motorsports.
Isn't John kind of good at that, though? I mean, let's be real here.
Well, all the beer you can drink. I mean, that's,
and listening to John, well, I guess that's the stuff of nightmares more than anything.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's, who wouldn't want to work for John Force?
Nobody I can think of except maybe me, because I think John might drive me crazy in the first 20 minutes. But
You're already
I do have fun interviewing him. I will say that. So we're going to dig into the second half of this show coming up after these messages for you at home. So we're going to step aside, and on the other side of this, we've still got Jesse Love. We've got some open wheel conversation. You never know what we're going to get into. But first, we'll take this break and be back in a moment.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend. My brother. My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father.
My husband.
My mom. My mommy. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication. But it's those tough choices that helped me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Hi, I'm Harrison Rhodes, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
There's a voice we haven't heard from in a little while. Harrison Rhodes bringing us back out of commercial break. Jacob Seelman, Tom Baker, Cisco Scaramouza still with you as we roll on through this edition of Motorsports Madness. And we still got some time to talk NASCAR, don't we?
Yeah,
we do.
Absolutely.
We does. We will. All right.
Let's do it.
Xfinity. Cisco, we're talking about Xfinity. So who are we going to talk about?
Junior!
Oh, gosh, Cisco, what was
you
that?
sounded like a dying whale. You really
Yeah,
did.
I know.
That was bad.
You know, it's the call of Junior Nation.
No. If you're actually, no, I'm not going to actually do it right, because the only person who can do it right on our staff is Steve Ovens, and well,
exactly.
he's not here. So
also, we don't have the Dale call, so you know.
No, you're correct. We don't have the Dale call, but maybe it's a good thing that we don't. Even still, Tom, it could be his last NASCAR race ever.
Yeah, he has left the door open a crack. And the reason that he has is because if a company came up with the right package for sponsorship for all of his other teams and wanted him to suit up and run a race, he would consider it. But I really believe that Junior's mindset at this point is that it will probably be his last race, because I think he understands his situation, and you know, he and Amy are talking about at some point down the road having another child, and, you know, Junior's got other responsibilities now. So, you know, perhaps another race later down the road, but I wouldn't count on it. I think this probably will be the last one, or at least, you know, the last one he has scheduled for a while.
Cisco, agree? Disagree?
Yeah, no, I agree, especially with, how he's been taking care of his body lately. I definitely think he's done with anything that's really a mile and a half over, just because of just how banged up he's gotten at this point.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see him on anything bigger than a mile and a half. I don't know if I'd necessarily want to see him on anything bigger than a mile, to be honest. So I think this is a good call for him. Though, I mean, given Richmond's track record, personally, I wouldn't have wanted to make the start here. I would have maybe gone with Martinsville, but that's just me.
Well, Xfinity
doesn't race
Martinsville,
Yeah.
and so Richmond really is what you got. And it was a sponsor commitment from last year. So,
yes.
That was...
Is this a Brandt deal, or is this a
No,
nationwide?
It's a Hellman's deal is what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were committed. That was committed to before he even announced his retirement. He knew he was going to have this. It's kind of a one-off hanging Chad for him, if you want to look at it like that. So I don't think you'll see any more for Junior for a while. I do think that he'll have a great time this weekend. He's going to be an in-race reporter, and that's just cool.
Absolutely. No, it's going to be great because he's with NBC now, so they got to use him somehow. It's kind of like what they did with Brendan Gaughan when Brendan ran the road race for Richard Childress Racing a few weeks back. I think it was at Road America that they did it and had him as the in-race reporter, so that was a cool deal. And I know Junior loves the broadcasting stuff now. I mean, you just look at how happy he's been in the booth this year. I think that speaks volumes.
Well, he talked about the fact that if he was going to go back to the racetrack, he wanted to do it with a purpose, and broadcasting gave him that. And the cool thing about this weekend, too, he's got TJ Majors back as his spotter.
Yes, on loan from Team Penske.
Yes.
Roger was nice enough, since Joey Logano is a Cup regular and can't run in the playoffs for Xfinity, and therefore TJ Majors was available. Roger was nice enough to loan him to Junior for Friday night, which I think is really cool. And if it is the last one, Cisco, one heck of a way to send off.
The only way you could have made that better is if somehow they got Stevie to be the crew chief for that car, which I doubt would happen.
I think Steve has to be in the broadcast.
To at least do something.
Yeah,
I think Steve has to. If Steve were going to crew chief, it would be from the NBC booth.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure how well that would work.
NBC pit box.
Yeah. Hey, he does have the Peacock pit box.
I can guarantee it.
Yeah, he's. I'm sure he'll be the one calling Junior on the radio. And that'll be fun. But he could not get out of that obligation to do work. So he will not be crew chiefing the car. But I'm sure Junior will have a great time. And look, it just adds a little bit of extra pep to a race that already has plenty because, of course, it is a playoff race.
Playoffs. We're talking about playoffs.
We are talking playoffs.
Justin Allgaier won the regular season championship last weekend in Las Vegas, while Ross Chastain was busy winning himself a race and proceeding to smash a watermelon at the start-finish line. Who didn't love that? The watermelon farmer makes good. I mean, if that's not a Hollywood script that should carry us through to the end of the year, I don't know what is. The only thing now, Tom, that would make it better is if we get the Ganassi support to the 4 team like everybody's clamoring for, because Chip, #likes winners, there. Put Ross Chastain in the Final Four at Miami and let him go chase a championship? I can't think of anything better.
Well, keep in mind that a lot of the newer cars that JD Motorsports brought out this year were Ganassi cars.
Yeah.
They were Ganassi cars. So there already is a relationship. I think that's probably why Ross was able to say that the 4 and the 42 essentially drive the same. The difference being there's a little extra resource, obviously, on the Ganassi side to have the stuff that they need to win. If Ross goes out and wins Richmond, there's definitely going to be some conversation, I would think, between the two teams trying to figure out how they can make a run here.
Because we have to make this look good.
Well, and, it's huge for JD Motorsports because it shows that they can develop driving talent to a point where then a Ganassi or a Gibbs or whoever can take them and take them the rest of the way, and they will win.
Yes, absolutely true. And good grief, if there's enough technical alliance that you could put a JD car in contention for a win, perhaps, through the playoffs, my gosh, I would fall on my face blubbering. That would be a tremendous moment.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that would be amazing if that could ever happen. You basically have it as a Ganassi partnership in some sort of way, that it's the same resources, the same, all of that with the 4 number on it, and that in a combined effort, to put JD in victory lane. That would be great. I mean, that's obviously something that I think everybody would be happy with. But it really is a situation for Ross where he could just go out and concentrate on winning the race. He's in the playoffs. He wasn't supposed to be in this position.
No.
There's nothing more dangerous than the driver with nothing to lose. Nobody thinks Ross is going to make it to the championship round. I don't think even now, because of the fact he's going to have to go back to the 4 car. So, if he goes out and wins Richmond, he's got nothing to lose here.
Exactly.
He can race for wins.
I'm telling you, I don't think that's going to be the same 4 car as it's been the rest of the season now, knowing what
I would hope not.
We know, but we'll wait and see. The bigger point here, though, is you've got a couple stories out of the JRM line to work with here, too. You've got Justin Allgaier, who's having a career year, won the regular season title, doubled his win total already. He's going for a championship. Elliott Sadler, who's getting ready to retire, I should say.
Yeah.
He's trying to win an elusive championship after being the bridesmaid 4 times. And there's Tyler Reddick, who won the opener at Daytona and has been nowhere up until the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you got 3 different stories there. Justin's been probably the biggest story in the Xfinity Series this year,
Yes.
which is just a bit of a surprise. Not huge, but a bit of a surprise. And then you've got Elliott, who is running his last race in his home track, air quotes. He's from Virginia. And then you've got Tyler Reddick, who really, he's mental mistaked himself out of a lot of things this year, and I think really is looking to step up here and make a run through the playoffs. Certainly has the ability and the equipment to do it. So Junior Motorsports has got a lot going on there, but I'm going to tell you the guy I'm watching this weekend, that's Daniel Hemrick. I think Hemmerick's good. It's a small track. And if Hemrick, if they can give him the speed and they can just avoid the bad luck gremlins, I think Backflip Jr. could just be, he might just do a backflip in victory lane.
Oh, boy. It would be the first backflip since Carl Edwards, and that would be a really, 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 really big deal. Not just for all of us who have followed Daniel for a while, but for the series as a whole. And with that, we're going to step aside, and on the other side, we're going to bring back a guest who's been fun to have on a few times already on this show. Jesse Love joins us fresh off a history-making win. You'll hear from him next here on Motorsports Madness.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speeds, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing: making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Brandon McReynolds, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Okay, so we're going to go from Brandon McReynolds to somebody who's not even half of Brandon McReynolds, and with that kind of musical intro, that's kind of ironic, Tom. I mean, I was just sitting here thinking about that as we were coming out of break going...
When you say he's not even half of Brandon McReynolds, explain that.
Size-wise, Brandon's really, really tall. Like, really tall.
Jesse's about 5'8", I think.
Yeah, well, Brandon's built a little wider than Jesse is.
Well, yes,
I know that.
That's true, and he's much older.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
So Jesse just has to do some growing and catching. But anyway, with that said, that means we do have Jesse Love on the line with us, and that is a really good thing because he's taking some time out of a testing schedule at Madeira tonight to talk with us. And I believe the first thing that's in order, Jesse, is congratulations because you kind of sort of set a record by winning a full midget race over the weekend. Took your first BCRA win and broke a record by being the youngest full midget winner in history, that record formerly held by Jeff Gordon. So, you know, that's kind of sort of big, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It was pretty cool.
All right, so for those who have not seen the video that's on your racing Facebook page yet or may not have time to look it up in the next 5 minutes, walk us through what the race was like from your perspective, because I know I watched the video Monday morning and it was pretty intense, especially the last few laps for you.
Yeah, it was one of those races where you really don't know how it's going to play out. We started off way strong out of the bat, and we got to second about lap 5, and by that time the leader, Chad Nichols, was just, you know, checked out, put the keys on tables, and was gone. So we'd spend the next probably 20 laps trying to hunt him down. By the time I caught him, there was 10 laps to go, and we started working on him on the outside. I knew I had a strong run there at Madeira and on the outside, so we started running the inside of him, and I think we exchanged the lead probably about 10 times, you know, and we probably hit and bounced off each other and almost spun out about 10 times again. So it was a really eventful race and a good show for the fans. And on the last lap, I just, you know, put the hammer down and decided to run the top on the gave one last stride, and we were able to somehow pick up the lead going into turn 3 and 4, and then lock on the bottom and take home the win, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool to break records like that.
From the way you describe it, Jesse, it sounds more like you ran a cup race at Bristol or Martinsville than an open wheel race at Madeira. They're bouncing off each other.
Yeah, that was something I had to get used to, is running against, you know, guys like Chad Nichols, where, you know, they'll do anything to win, and they'll give you an inch, and that's it. You know, it was pretty cool learning stuff like that.
I think for me what's cool, just sitting back and thinking about this, we talked off the top that you're the youngest winner of a full-size midget feature race in the history of the discipline, Jesse, but even just when you look at the BCRA series, I mean, that's a series that's been here for 79 years, and the fact that you're going out and at 13 saying, hey, here I am, we're just going to go win a race. I mean, have you even been able to really soak in what that win on Saturday has meant, means not just to midget racing, but for you and your career at this juncture?
Yeah, I really don't know if it's still 100%, sunk in. I know that it was one of the most grueling races. When I got out of the car, I had to give myself a minute before we did the cage stand. I was really, really tired, and we worked really hard at it. But, there's been guys like Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, and, Justin Grant, all the way from guys that have run IndyCar to guys that have run NASCAR to, sprint car champions and midget champions. So, just pretty cool to be on a list like that. Even to be, mentioned in a list of names like that is really cool as well.
Jesse, you actually are 2 years too young to race in that series. I think it's important to note here for our audience, the minimum age is 15. You had to be given a waiver in order to move up and run, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong about that, but I think that says a lot for your skill set and how much respect that you've gained from the folks in BCRA and others out there who have watched you up to this year and said, you know what, we think that this one is good enough to go and compete, and we're going to give them an exemption like that. That's pretty awesome. And then you go justify it by winning one of the biggest races.
Yeah, and I can't thank Linda Manning and Del Morse enough for letting me run the series, and it really goes to show, for all the young viewers out there, how important it is to be respectful on and off the track, because USAC, it was harder to get a waiver for that, and BCRA had seen more of me, and the people around me have constantly been telling me to keep on driving clean and showing respect on and off the track to drivers and crew and the car itself. So that was really cool to be able to run the series, and to be able to back it up and make a statement was also really cool.
Okay, so I'm just going to jump in because it caught my eye 2 seconds ago and tie Jesse's late model testing duties into this by referencing Cisco and the fact that you sneaky little devil, you decided to go and I think on the back of your computer screen, am I spying Jesse back there? Or a picture of Jesse?
Maybe that's the picture that has Haley and Jesse posing with the can't tell which trophy that is, but yes, you and your teammate there, Mr. Love.
I'm not sure what picture we're talking about.
All I know is one of you won the race, and it's your car, so I'm going to guess it was you.
Yeah.
Looks like a junior late model
and
shot.
Yeah.
I think it's a junior late model shot.
So speaking of the junior late model, talk a little bit about what you're doing tonight. I know we referenced before we brought you on air with us that you are testing the car tonight.
Yeah, tonight we're testing, some new stuff on the car, which I'm about to go do after we're done with this, and, test with Mike Nake and Adam Lemke as well, who's also a race-based driver like myself. So hopefully we can find some speed. I'm running both the junior late model and the pro late model this weekend at Madera for Nate Clower and Toyota Race and Development. So hopefully we can support their brand as well as 5150 Energy Drink.
All right. So you, as you referenced when you were on with us previous, Jesse, have done a little bit of everything this year. And I know you talked about it some the last time we had you on the program, but does it ever get old bouncing back and forth between about 5 different race cars?
Never. And, not only bouncing back from different race cars, but different tracks as well in different series is also something that it's really caught my eye this year. I've pretty much driven everything under the moon that I've been able to run this year. Anywhere from a Bandolero that has probably about, 12, 15, maybe 20 horsepower, all the way to a sprint car, which is, more than, my late model or the midget, which is something that's also really cool, and it's I can really tell it's making myself a better driver.
Okay, so I want to, speaking of different things you're going to do, and I hope I can't remember if I'm supposed to say this or not, but I'm going to throw it out there. You can holler at me later. You told me that you were going to actually run the World Nationals for the Legends cars. Is that true? Yeah, I'm super excited to announce that, and I think it's also the first time I'm announcing that for this race, which is also pretty cool. I'm running for Robert Gayton Racing,
we ran. It's actually in Vegas, which is one of my favorite road courses that I've run at, and we won the Legend Winter Nationals there, beginning of the year and end of the year of last year. So we won 5 out of the 8 races, along with the championship in my first ever season in a road course car by Legends. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully we can go out and win the World Nationals.
Jesse, to think back one more time to the midget win that you picked up on Saturday, how motivating for you, not necessarily just in the midget, but across everything you're running for your season, how motivating for you is it to pick up a win like you did that has gained so much traction, not just on the West Coast, but really all around the country at this point?
Yeah, I mean, and Tom can back me up on this. I talk to him 2 to 3 plus times a week. And I think every time I talk to him, I bring it up, how frustrated I am, or how frustrated I was about not picking up an open wheel midget or sprint car win this year. Last year I ran Focus midgets, which was pretty cool, but the level of competition is nowhere near what I'm dealing with now. So I was really getting, I don't know about frustrated, but I was getting kind of worked down, and I was really beating myself up, and how my dad put it was, I pretty much got tired of losing. We put every hour of and every drop of tear and sweat into that race. So I know it really was a big barrier to break, and something that I'm never going to forget, and I'm going to carry with me for a long time.
Have you heard from anybody after the win that you were surprised that you heard from them? Anybody congratulate you that you're like, whoa?
Yeah, I mean, there's been, a lot of guys, anywhere from the stock car world to the road course world, all the way to, just guys at the grandstands. We treat everybody the same, and, all the fans that come down after the race was really cool. And normally, what I've seen lately is whenever we but for the grace of God, be able to pick up a win, what I've seen is that kind of the fans, after the race, they would, everybody rush to the pits and go see the drivers. But I saw something really cool this past week, and we won that. I run the midget at Madera quite a bit. That's one of BCRA's biggest tracks they run at the most. And, the racing community is so tight that if they go to Madera once, they usually go back a lot more. It's a great facility. And so they kind of know the story. I ran, the past 3 years here in Focus midgets. So then to come back in a full midget, and I wouldn't say struggle, but really have to work very hard. And we got a few podiums and overcame a lot of adversity. They all, instead of leaving the pits and go, try and beat traffic, they all stood, a number of people stood at the front gate, looking over at my interview and all that stuff, which is something that, brought me to tears, something that was really cool. And I loved meeting all the fans afterwards and giving out T-shirts and hats.
All right, Jesse, hang tight with us for just a minute. We're going to hold you over into the next segment, and we'll have more with Jesse Love coming up right after this break.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper cars, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit coopercorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay. Totally.
Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now. Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
Hi, I'm Tyler Dipple, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
That was because I just had to get Tom Dippling on camera. Just saying. Welcome back to Motorsports Madness. Jacob Seelman, the aforementioned Dippling Tom Baker, and Cisco Scaramuza. Joined on the Race Chaser Hotline by Jesse Love, who we were talking to in our last segment, and going to continue for a couple more questions. Jesse, for those who in our audience who may not be as familiar with perhaps the midget car style of racing, at least on a regular basis, for you, what makes midget racing different or unique compared to all the other race cars that you run?
Well, it's definitely one of those cars and one of those races where you kind of have to go to experience it. And it's what I actually said after I won the race. I was like, wow, oh my gosh, that was a midget race right there. After I won my first midget race, I mean, it was just constantly, crossovers, and everything's so much faster paced than, per se, a late model race or even some sprint car races. So that's something that I've really noticed, is everything's, such fast paced, and everything's so much, louder, and everything vibrates more, and it's just everything taken to an extreme, and it really puts it into the driver's hand compared to something like a late model.
All right, so real quickly, what other races, what do you have coming up here in the next couple weeks on your schedule?
So what I've been notified of as of right now is this next few days I'll be testing some more late models. And then on Saturday night, I'll be running the RPM Mortgage Pro Late Model Series, as well as a 5150 Junior Late Model Series at Madera Speedway for Nate Clower and Toyota. After that, I think I'm back in a midget somewhere in Lakeport or Rocky Mountain Raceway. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what's coming up next. And then after that, I'll be doing some more late model testing and getting ready for the road course finals.
Tom, can we go buy a time machine or something and warp him to 2020 so we can put him in a K&N West car like yesterday?
Yeah, really. Look, I think Jesse has got plenty of opportunity between now and 2020 to really do some nice things in the cars that he's going to be driving.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's when you break Jeff Gordon's record and make history at the age of 13 in the class that you had to get a 2-year waiver to compete in, and you're just probably halfway through that season. That's pretty spectacular.
It's kind of good.
Yeah.
Kind of sort of good. Jesse, obviously you can't do any of this by yourself. We always want to give you a chance to shout out to your sponsors. Who makes it happen for you and all of the teams that you were driving for?
Yeah, first off, to start off with teams, I can't thank Nate Clower Motorsports and Toyota Race Development enough for all their support this year. It's been a blast running with them, as well as Trace Van Dyne, who I've been running with for the past probably 3 to 4 years. And then this year he gave me the honor to drive both of his midgets. Something really cool. We'll be winning some more midgets soon, hopefully doing some more racing with him. I also can't thank Chuck DiGavera enough for letting me run with him on the road course, as well as Robert Gayton. And I can't thank Rick Bernal and Ryan Bernal, as well as Vinny Vinny Latner for coming out and supporting me when I run the sprint car. I couldn't have done it without them. Hopefully we'll have a few more sprint car races on the schedule. We just have to see where if it can fit into our schedule. So hopefully we'll be running some more sprint car races and getting ready for the road course finals with Robert Gayton.
Sounds like a blast.
Also,
go ahead, Jesse.
So, yeah, I just want to first, give a huge thanks to all my sponsors: 5150, Home Smiles, Gunderson Direct, Fleece Insurance, our newest sponsor and partner, Toyota Race Development and Mobile One, as well as Canon Filters, StopTech, Rainier Race Development, Jason Weta Hayes Photography, Home Smiles, Redwood Landing, and all of the race fans watching this right now, as well as Jacob and Tom for letting me be on the show tonight.
Well, and I'll tell you what, I was going to ask, first of all, what are you testing there at Madeira tonight? Inquiring minds want to know.
So tonight I'll be testing out some new, something new in the rear end. I'm not sure what 100% what it is right now. We're hoping to pick up a few tenths here and there, hopefully, because last race we definitely probably had the car to beat. At one point, Matt Erickson and I were probably, one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. So hopefully we can just pick up a few more tenths here at this test session, get ready for the open race.
Let's be clear, even if he did know for sure what it was, he wasn't going to say it on air with 1 million people listening.
Well, I was more asking, is it a late model or a midget test? I wasn't sure what kind of car you were testing.
Late model, open late model.
Gotcha. Okay. Sounds great. And definitely look forward to that. Real quick before we let you go, where can fans keep track of you?
Yeah, every race fans, you can keep track of me, Raceface Media, and Rod Wortham, as well as my Facebook and Twitter page at Jesse Love Racing. You can also download my app in the App Store, which is new to the App Store, Jesse Love Racing. Or keep tracking me on Instagram at Jesse Love Jr. Race fans, keep me updated on that, how you guys think it's going. And make sure if you want to get a signed hero card or anything like that, or just want to keep in touch, make sure to go to JesseLoveRacing.com.
Kid's 13. He's got his own app, Jacob. How's that?
Well, I know it's better than me.
Yeah, you don't have your own app yet. All right, Jesse, we appreciate it. We know you got work to do there at the track, so thanks for taking some time to talk with us, and congratulations again on making history. That's pretty darn cool for being so young.
No, thank you for letting me be on the show, and thank you very much. Hopefully they get another win this weekend.
I'd say that's probably the underlying point to all of this is you got one, now you go for two. That's Jesse Love, and we're going to transition back out of it, but it's like I almost want to sit here and go, how do you transition out of him? Because he's 13 and he could put most 40-year-olds to shame on this show.
Well, that's true. Yeah, he does a great job with the interviews and just a lot of fun. If you get to know Jesse, he's just a really cool kid and, very, very humble, too. He comes from humble background, and it's great to see the success that he's having so quickly. He is definitely got a very bright future.
All right. On my archaic stopwatch over here that most people watching can't see, I'm just keeping track of things. We have about 6.5 minutes left in this segment, which is plenty of time, Cisco, to crack into open wheel world and talk about the rumor mill. Oh my gosh, because it seems like we do that every show because, well, lately we have.
Well, we can talk about the rumor mill, Jacob, but didn't we just crown a champion?
We did just crown a champion, too. Scott Dixon picking up title number 5, which puts him 2 behind A.J. Foyt for most all-time. He's the first 5-time champion in 51 years, y'all. That's kind of a ways away.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, 1967.
It's a half a century.
Yes, way longer than I've been alive.
Yep.
Way, way longer. So, yes, we can talk about Scott Dixon and how important that is, but in the same vein, Cisco, Harding Steinbrenner Racing is now a thing. The 2-car Colton Herta Pato Award attack is a thing. And the potential of a 3rd Carlin Racing car on the grid for 2019 as of today is also a thing. Note I said potential.
Yeah, and first off, I'm wondering if George Costanza is going to be involved in that organization at all. Please tell me somebody gets that reference. But
I get it.
Tom gets it.
Okay, but nonetheless, this once again is proving to me the fact that IndyCar, I think more than a lot of the other racing series going on right now, is just getting an influx of a lot of everything, really. I mean,
yes.
we've talked at length about the new tracks that they've brought in. Obviously, we came from Portland not that long ago. It's the second to last race of the season. Now we have Laguna Seca back. So, and now we have 3 new cars going to be on the grid for 2019. There's a lot of irons in the fire when it comes to IndyCar, and everybody's getting excited about it. I mean, it all kicked off with that IR18, Jacob, and it's just kind of gone up from there. The IndyCar stock, she's rising.
Yes, absolutely. Jay Fry and his whole team have done a tremendous job, but there's one really big iron in the fire, potentially, that we still don't have a resolution on, Tom, and it's that Fernando Alonso guy.
Yep.
Latest rumor on Fernando is, well, a third Harding-Steinbrenner car that would be mostly Harding, but it would still kind of all fit in with the Andretti alliance. I'm not sure I'm buying it because, as Al Unser Jr. noted on the IndyCar teleconference that announced all this earlier in the week, they still have a third driver under contract, and Gabby Chavez is going to be a part of that team's plan somehow in 2019. They're still working through exactly what that looks like, but we know Gabby's going to be a part of that operation in some capacity next year, and I just don't buy Fernando to a Harding-Steinbrenner car that's really unproven. I really don't.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm not too sure that the two situations are as compatible or kind of connected as you just put it. I mean, you had said you thought that Gabby was they had an option for him in 19. I thought he was under contract for through the season.
I will say that the notes that I had were slightly misinformed when we were talking about this off air earlier in the week.
Okay.
I did think it was an option year, but Al Jr. confirming during the teleconference that Gabby is under contract with the team for 19.
So I think that if you get a chance to grab Fernando Alonso, you just go ahead and write a check to Gabby Chavez and thank him for his time. As much as I morally hate that, because this feels to me like some of the stuff we're seeing in NASCAR these days, I feel like Gabby's kind of getting left out. But, there's only one Fernando Alonso, and if you get a chance to sign him for a full season, I think you take it.
Yeah.
With that being said, I don't believe it either. I think somehow Fernando's still going to wind up with a different team, whether it's Andretti or whether it may be, a Ray Hall kind of deal.
ECR.
ECR. Yeah, that's
ECR.
Eddie. That's Eddie Carpenter. Sorry,
Eddie Cheever. What time warp did you walk into?
Well, you got to remember I'm 50, so that time warp you mentioned for Jesse. Once in a while, I sort of have my own time machine, and I can't control it. But Ed Carpenter would be another perfect fit for him, and I just am not buying the Harding situation unless it is basically Andretti with Harding's name on it. That would be another way for Michael to keep Fernando.
I'm going to be honest. That's starting to be the understanding there's going to be Andretti involvement in this team in 2019. Al Jr. wasn't ready to clarify exactly what that meant, but I think it's going to be a whole lot more than just giving him some technology and some notes.
Real quick, think about this potential scenario. Okay, so Andretti gets involved with Harding, Cisco, and then what happens is eventually those two drivers in that organization end up with the parent club. Okay, so Harding becomes the farm team for Andretti, Cisco. That would be a great arrangement, and at the same time, you get Fernando Alonso into the mix.
All right, I'm stopping with the box gag. I think that'd be fantastic, and also keep in mind, this isn't new for Andretti. They've been doing this sort of team that has a different name on it for a little while anyway, because, that's kind of how Alex Rossi got to Andretti in the first place.
Right.
So
yes, the Herta thing.
With Herta. So that's a very similar situation. So it would not surprise me at all to see Andretti go, we want him back. Do you know how many diecasts they would sell of Fernando Alonso's full-time IndyCar? You know how many they sold of his 500 car?
They're going to sell a bunch of Paddle Award, too, let me tell you. That kid is very popular.
He is popular, and he is a great driver.
Yes.
We're going to close off this round of Motorsports Madness coming up right around the turn. Back to end it in a moment.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, Recording Artists Against Drunk Driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Motorsports sales professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
You are a waste. A loser. Everyone hates you. Why don't you just stay in your car and keep driving? I'm serious. Drive until you run out of gas, then get out of your car and walk until you find someone who doesn't think you're dumber than bricks. Could take a while, but at least all that walking might burn a couple of calories.
You may not witness bullying like this every day. Your kids do. They want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov to learn safe, simple ways your child can help stop bullying. Be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Bassett Jr., and you're listening to the Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
All right.
That's strange music for a bulldog.
I know, but you can blame Steve Ovens
Yeah.
for that. Anyway, welcome back to Motorsports Madness. We have just enough time to go around the table once before we're done here. So, Cisco, I'll let you lead it off. Who wins the Cup race, and go.
The Cup race is going to be won by Kyle Busch because I have no imagination. Bonus round. The guy who's going to win the Richmond race. Yeah, that's right. I'm jumping on the bandwagon. 4 wins already at the track. He'll do it again. Mr. Junior wins the Xfinity race.
Wow. Okay, Tom.
Daniel Hemrick in the Xfinity Series because I said he would. And in the Cup Series will be none other than the guy who crashed last week. So, of course, he's going to win this week, Kevin Harvick.
I believe what I see. That's a Tom Baker quote. And what I see is sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And I think lucky than good is going to last one more week. Brad Keselowski makes it 4 wins in a row. Why? Because, well, I think he can. And in the Xfinity race, I'm with Cisco. I like me a good Hollywood script, and Dale Jr. is going to win the Xfinity race because, well, why not? It makes for good TV, right? And with that, we're going to get out of here. Thanks to Bob Steele, Sue Mason, and the folks at PMN, as well as, well, me. I'm punching buttons tonight. So for Tom Baker and
for
Cisco.
doing a great job.
For Tom and Cisco, I'm Jacob Seelman. Keep it off the wall, folks, and if you're headed to a racetrack somewhere, we might just see you there, folks. Till we meet again.
You've been listening to Motorsports Madness with the Race Chaser Online crew. Stay tuned to Performance Motorsports Network for more race talk. For the latest motorsports news, visit racechaseronline.com. Motorsports Madness is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network, www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com. A member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section in the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-hosts, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or the marketing partners. Be listening again next week when the Madness returns on Monday night at 7 Eastern. Until then, keep it off the wall and keep the shiny side up.